Our Middle East correspondent Matt Brown spoke with Chancellor Barzani at his headquarters north of Erbil in northern Iraq.
We see that ISIS is becoming weaker. The morale is lower now compared to before. We've seen some ISIS members defecting. We've seen that there are problems inside the city. So I believe,
what sorts of problems are you
means,
talking about?
Well, you know, assassinations, killings, theft, problems inside the city which were not the case before. So this is a proof that ISIS is losing its grasp of the security inside the city itself.
And what sorts of operations are now underway inside Mosul to try and win allies inside the city, people who, you know, might operate inside the city against the Islamic State group in advance of or during an offensive?
It's hard to do operations inside Mosul. People are still very afraid, and we know how savage these terrorists are. So any mistake, any leak could lead to the execution of people. So people are not very comfortable to, let's say, rise up against ISIS or to do, you know, as many activities as they probably wish. But they're waiting to see for the incoming forces, the liberating forces, to come closer to the city. And of course, we do get and collect a lot of information about targeting their leaders, targeting their financial resources and money storages. And these things are on the way, actually. They happen every day.
So those strikes aren't driven simply by remote sensing and information from outside. There are obviously sources of information inside Mosul that are corroborating that.
There are a number of ways to collect information. Some of them are from inside.
If we were to adopt the American sort of prescription for a stabilisation operation like that, and if 500,000 people were in Mosul, you'd need about 25,000 soldiers and police to secure that city.
True.
They're just not available, are they, unless they are the Iraqi army and Shiite-dominated divisions?
You know, at the beginning, of course, the liberation of Mosul is the most important part. Now we have to drive ISIS out. And then equally important is how to manage Mosul after the liberation. And you're absolutely right, the security of Mosul becomes very important. Now, if you look at Mosul, you see that there are many different people of different backgrounds live in the city. We have Kurds who are Shias and Sunnis, we have Arabs, Shias and Sunnis, we have Turkomans who are Shias and Sunnis, we have Yazidis, Shabaks, we have Christians. So we have all these different ethnic and religious groups that live in Mosul. Every one of them wants to have guarantees for a safe and secure future, and they all want to play a role during the operation and of course after the liberation of the city. So attempts are underway. Now we are talking with the Iraqi government, with the coalition forces, with all these components to see how best we can come up with a mechanism that would satisfy the needs of all these different people inside.
Would the Kurds go into Mosul?
If it's an agreement amongst all the components and the coalition and the Iraqi army, I think there would be a mechanism that would be acceptable by all. But you're right. Now we as the Kurds have these geopolitical limitations of how far we can go. Now we have liberated about 27,000 square kilometers that had initially been taken by ISIS. And all of these areas are Kurdish areas. And in order for us to go beyond those points, we have to reach some sort of agreements with the local population and also with the Iraqi government. Now, Mosul is definitely one of those parts that needs understanding and agreements amongst all these participants to see how far we can go for the same reason, to make sure that we don't create any sensitivities.
If I put to you that after Mosul is liberated and the Islamic State group is ostensibly defeated there, that there'll be a period of very messy stabilisation operations, and that eventually there'll continue to be grievances in that city and a rebirth of insurgency, as we have seen time and again over more than a decade now. Would you say that based on what we can see now, that is more or less likely?
Depends on how you plan for after the liberation. But I hope that everybody understands the vacuum that will be there after the liberation until the full security is maintained in the city. And this is why it's very important to talk to all components of the province, of the city, to feel comfortable.
That's the most perilous period, isn't it? I mean, that is a period where it actually could get worse.
Exactly. If it's not happened in the right way, yes. But I hope that everybody has learned from the mistakes in the past and understand that you cannot impose solutions on people against their will.